This is CBS 11 News Now.
Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much once again for joining us here for News Now. This is our digital update. I'm Ken Molestina coming to you live here on Facebook Live from our Fort Worth studios. A couple of big stories that we're following for you today. Obviously, the big story last night was that police shooting where an officer from Richardson was killed as he was responding to a call. Let's take a live look right now from that apartment complex out in Richardson. You can see still a very, very big police presence down there. We know today, following a news conference that was given just a little bit ago, that now Plano Police is taking over this investigation because so many Richardson police officers were involved in the initial situation last night. That officer today, we have had an identification for him. This is Officer David Sherrard, a 14-year veteran who was shot and killed again last night as he was responding to a call there at the apartment complex. That shooter, identified as Brandon D. McCall, he has been charged with capital murder. There's his booking photo from the Collin County Jail that we were able to get earlier this morning. There was a second victim also shot, Renee Gamez. That person was also killed. That's a civilian, and we understand that he did know the shooter, Brandon D. McCall. Whatever the relationship is, though, investigators right now are not saying. That's something that they're also trying to look into. Guys, I know there's a lot of us that are joining us here just a little bit past noon on Thursday, and within the last hour, Richardson's police chief Jimmy Spivey gave a short news conference where he confirmed a lot of the details that I just told you, took a couple of questions from reporters. We were there, and what we want to do for you right now is sort of replay that for you in its entirety so you can hear directly from the chief and what they're dealing with, this very tragic situation. Let's take a listen to what Chief Jimmy Spivey from Richardson Police had to say just a little bit ago.
Richardson Police Department is mourning the death of one of our finest. Yesterday evening, just after 7 o'clock, we answered a disturbance call with shots fired in the 4200 block of Renner Road. When our officers arrived, they found that a person had been shot. They began rendering aid to that person. In the course of their investigation, they were led to an apartment where they made an entry and immediately encountered gunfire from the apartment. As a result of that gunfire, Officer David Sherrard was wounded. He fell back out of the apartment, was aided by other officers. Other officers made entry into the apartment. They also encountered gunfire. Through the brave acts of other Richardson police officers, they were able to extract from the apartment. A subsequent a barricade situation ensued, and the suspect was ultimately arrested. Officer Sherrard was transported to Medical City Hospital in Plano and unfortunately died of his wounds. It's a sad day for the Richardson Police Department. This is the first officer that has been killed in the line of duty in our department in our 63-year history. And you can well imagine the emotional trauma that's causing the department. Officer Sherrard leaves behind a wife and 2 daughters. He's a 14-year veteran of the Richardson Police Department. With me today is some of our officers and our district attorney, Mr. Greg Willis. That's all I have to say. I don't have a whole lot of information. We've turned this investigation over to the Plano Police Department. We have so many officers, so many of our officers that were involved in this incident, we felt like it would be better to let Plano handle this investigation for us, and they've begun the investigation. I don't have a lot of information other than what I've just described. If you have a question, I would take it. Yes, sir.
Just the age of the officer, age and his spelling of his name.
We've got a sheet that we'll distribute that's got that information on it and his photograph.
What can you tell us personally about Officer Sherrard?
I can tell you that Officer Sherrard is a brave, tenured police officer who died in the service of his community. Thank you very much.
Chief, we're so sorry for your loss. I just wanted to tell you that in the department.
Thank you.
What can you tell us about the suspect? It looks like he has some sort of prior history.
You know, I really don't know anything about the suspect. I'm going to have to defer that to the Plano Police Department. They're handling this investigation.
Chief, what's your understanding of what precipitated all of this?
I have no information about that.
Chief, can you tell us how everyone here is doing today? We've seen a lot of folks already coming in to visit you, some folks leaving flowers on the balloons. Talk about how you guys are doing today and the kind of, I guess, outreach that
it's the hardest day we've ever had. We're not doing well, but I will tell you this, this is a police department of professionals. And yes, it is an emotionally trying, traumatic day, but they're out there right now doing the things that they do best and serving this community. And I have every confidence that policing and public safety in Richardson, Texas is going to go on just like it does every other day.
Chief, I know law enforcement is like a family, and when you lose an officer, the extended family loses them as well. And I know officers are there for that family. What's the one message that you want Officer Sherrard's family to know from you?
That we're with them, that they are our family, they have been our family, and they will continue to be our family, and we will continue to support them as long as it's necessary. Thank you very much.
The re-rack there, we just replayed for you the news conference that we all heard live. It happened about an hour ago. That was Richardson's Police Chief Jimmy Spivey speaking on the issue of police officer David Sherrard being killed last night in the line of duty. He was a 14-year veteran. No doubt that this was a very emotional news conference that took place there on behalf of that police department, everyone involved. Once again, we are reporting on the death of a police officer here in North Texas, and unfortunately, you know, now this department, this community is going to have to deal with a lot of heartache and try and make sense of everything that happened here. I want to get to some of your comments because a lot of you folks who are watching here on Facebook Live also sharing some of these sentiments here. And again, we're just showing you some video of this scene last night as we look at Facebook and take some of your comments here. Lori Stark Shank saying, so sad. Lori, absolutely heartbreaking. Thanks for your comment. A lot of folks sending prayers up. Melissa Williams, thank you very much for your comment. Christy Prusinski also saying prayers for the family and the women and the men in blue. Love and prayers for them all, says Tina Laumer. And again, just a lot of prayers coming in right now here on Facebook Live. No doubt that this community, this police department, that officer's family is going to need the prayers, the thoughts on behalf of everyone to try and get through this. We can tell you that there was a second person. I don't want to forget that there was a second person also died as a result of all of this. That person described as being a civilian by the name of Rene Gamez. Rene Gamez, apparently from what the police chief told us, was more than likely a victim who was shot earlier. That's what precipitated the 911 response, the police call to the apartment. Police officers, as you heard the chief say just a little bit ago, were trying to administer first aid, trying to save him when they then came under fire. And that's when Officer David Sherrard was shot. But that second person, Rene Gamez, we're being told, is someone who knew the shooter. But exactly the extent of that relationship, we do not know right now. And again, just to recap here, that shooter identified, or the suspected shooter, I should say, identified as Brandon D. McCall. There's his mugshot from the Collin County Jail. He was arrested after a standoff with police overnight. He was actively shooting, we're told, until late hours of the night last night, but police officers were able to arrest him, and they took him into custody, booked him into the jail, and he is now being charged on a capital murder charge. But again, just a very sad day for the law enforcement community, not just in Richardson, not just in North Texas, but really throughout the state, throughout the country. Unfortunately, once again, we're having to report on another officer being killed in the line of duty, presumably just doing their job. They're called to do this job every single day. It's a reality that they know all too well, and unfortunately now, we're reporting on it once again, and too many people know that reality of the dangers that they face. Folks, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye for now on this Facebook Live. Once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us, for participating in this conversation, sending your prayers, your thoughts to that officer, his family, that department, to that second victim who was shot, Rene Gamez. Again, this is obviously something that we are continuing to work for you. We have a team of reporters working different angles on this story to try and get some more information on what happened, who all these folks are that were involved in all of this, and we're going to have that for you throughout the day. But for right now, for this Facebook Live event that we're having with you right now, we want to say goodbye, but we're going to see you back at 3 o'clock. In the meantime, be sure to check us out online, cbsdfw.com. That is our website. Across all of our social media platforms, we'll update you there, and we will certainly talk to you soon.